Hello, good day, and welcome to another episode on the African Brand Academy podcast. I hope you're having a great day and you're crushing your brand goals. If you're new to the show, we are thrilled to have you with us, and if you're a returning listener, we are so glad to have you back. So today, I'd love to introduce you to Mrs. Abimbola Balogun. She's an outstanding lawyer, HR expert, and co-founder of SoFresh, a pioneer and one of the biggest healthy food chain in Nigeria, with almost a decade and a half years in the business. She has 16 physical restaurants in Lagos and Abuja. I'm principal partner at Abimbola Consult, a HR consulting firm. She's a certified John Maxwell speaker, trainer, and coach, a Goldman Sachs scholar, 2022 awardee of the Lagos State Government, a co-100 women, the business leader, and WIMBY's mentor. She has helped several business owners increase staff performance, accelerate their business growth through HR structure courses, templates, and coaching. Welcome, Waz. So good to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Right. So before we dive in, we would love to know a bit about your journey. How did this all start and how has the journey been so far?
Okay, fantastic. Thank you again for that beautiful introduction. How did my entrepreneurship journey start, right? I imagine that is the question.
Yeah.
And my professional journey into human resources. Like you rightly said, I had my first degree in law from the University of Ilorin, and running a business was never what ever crossed my mind in business. Even though growing up as a child, I saw my mom run a restaurant. I was part of it for a while. I saw my dad also run business as well for a short time. So I learned some few skills around planning, some few skills around selling. But like I said, it was just part of growing up. It wasn't an idea that was dominant in my mind. What was strong in my mind, the dream in my heart, was to become a lawyer. So fast forward to when I graduated, I practiced. I started my legal career as a state counsel in Kwara State Judiciary. And I did that for about 18 months before I resigned and I went to South Africa. I was there with my husband after our wedding. I lived there also for a while and then moved to Nigeria. During that journey, I've been in and out of jobs. And so I felt this emptiness in me that I really want to do something that I can have control over. I mean, not coming in and out of jobs. And so I dug down in myself and I saw that I had this unique passion, for people, unique passion for nurturing people and developing potentials that lies within them. It's just a natural gift. If I work with you for just a day, I am so intuitive as to understand what your strengths are, what your capabilities are, and I know how to bring that out. And so discussing it with my husband, he said, okay, why don't you get some form of, education, professional certification around it so that they can even nurture that natural talent in you. And that was how I found out about CIPM Nigeria. I registered and I began my journey into human resources in 2009. Shortly before I finished, my husband came up with the idea of starting a whole food store, which is whole food, where we'll be selling fresh fruits and vegetables. Because of my background in law, he never imagined that it was an idea that would resonate with me. And so casually, we've been bouncing off ideas as to, can we just find a business and opportunity that we can leverage on? And then we looked at our environment and some of the things that was a source of stress to us. Market runs was a big stress for me. And I mean, growing up in an environment where I enjoyed the beauty of plucking fresh mangoes, fresh guavas from the tree, that idea clicked with me. And that was how it all began. I believed so much in the dream. And I saw that to also be an opportunity for me to practice my HR professional and strengthen my capabilities in people development and management. And so that's how my journey has begun. Today we have about 150 employees and I am the Chief People Officer for SoFresh, responsible for culture and the people, ensuring that our culture is not diluted, because as we expand across the various, states and region in Nigeria, with growth, there is also that high risk of dilution of culture, because you're not going to be everywhere at the same time. And so I am very much on top of that. And that's how my journey has been so far.
Wow, that's beautiful. So speaking of expansion, managing over 150 people from just So Fresh alone, right? That's apart from AB Consult.
Yes.
How do you keep up?
How I leverage the strengths and the talents of other people. How I keep up? That's such a profound question, right? Because it didn't all begin this way, right?
Yeah,
It's been
yeah.
a journey about 13 years now. It's been a journey of about 13 years, but it's been a journey that is heavily rooted in a clear and strong vision. All right. If you're starting anything that you know that it is worth going the long term, it's really important to clarify your goal, clarify your vision, right? Because, this is one of the big things I do at AB Consults, helping entrepreneurs clarify their goals. It's not just enough to set a goal. And that is why people set goals and they don't go all the way to ensuring they achieve it, because the goal is not clear enough. And so it's so important to clarify your goal and set that vision and understand why you are doing what you are doing. Okay. And so that was a very important step that we tried to start with. We didn't just start, because we wanted money. And it's okay for people to start businesses that way because you needed money. But for it to last decades, 2 decades, and generations, it has to be a reason bigger than just making money. So that was key. And then we began to think about, the kind of people that we need to bring on board to help us realize this vision. We also needed to think about how their lives would also be different, how the lives of the people that will be working the business would also be different. And that influences the kind of policies, the kind of programs, the kind of engagements that happen in the organization. Because if we don't think about it this way, it's so easy for people to leave you and move on to something else, right? Because people are ready to work with employers and organizations that can really display that, we care about you, and you too, you have something to enjoy in this. And so support system, has helped me keep it all together. Support system from the home front. My husband is my biggest support system. I share my ideas with him. He pushes me, motivates me, encourages me, because it can be tiring sometimes. And then you're questioning, is it worth it? And then you're getting a voice that says, yes, you're doing well. So my support system at home, I have 3 children as well. And so I can't do everything. I can't cook alone, do the washing, do the everything. So I have support systems at home as well. For AB Consults, the beauty is that largely it's virtual. Largely my services are online. And so I am not as heavy on teams physically like So Fresh, which is a retail model. So Fresh is a retail model, and that requires, and it's also a restaurant, and so that requires a lot of staff. So that has helped me to just manage my remote for AB Consults. And my 9 to 5 is So Fresh. And anything in between, it's AB Consults. And I have been able to combine both and deliver value from both ends because of the structures that I have put in place for both businesses.
Yeah. First of all, I want to say congratulations on crossing decade mark in business,
Yeah.
and even not only doing that, but then growing and keep growing. I mean, 16 restaurants in two of the biggest cities in Nigeria is not come chop, it's not play. So I mean, big ups on that one.
Yeah, even in Igbo states now, yeah, 3 states.
Three state. Oh wow. That's something. Oh my goodness. So let's go deep a bit. I want to ask, what are the attributes of the low performing team and the high performance team? What is the difference? What are their attributes, and how can you define them in your own terms?
Okay, I mean, for you to adjudge a team to be low performing, that means there are some unmet expectations. That means you have set expectations and they are unmet, right? And that is why you would say that they are low performing. It doesn't necessarily mean that those kind of people in that team are not able or are not capable of performing that way. So there are a lot of things that actually come to play when it comes to low performance or high performance. One of it is fine. You set clear expectations and goals at the very beginning.
Okay.
And it is always better to set it with your team. All right.
With
No
your
matter the level of, yes, no matter the level of employees you are dealing with, you can calm down, you can bring your communication to a level where they feel included in the decision making of the organizations. Not always, but I mean sometimes you ensure that you include them in creating those goals. What you are doing is that you are getting them to be a part of the process so that they can also own it and feel that sense of accomplishment when that goal is eventually realized. And so it becomes, we did it. All right. It becomes our idea, eventually, came to pass. And it is also always important to set clear roles and responsibilities of each team member. Okay, you ensure that, okay, for you, you are the driver, you are the executor, you are the this, whatever the goal is, everybody must be clear about their roles, their part they're supposed to play in ensuring the achievement of that goal. Okay. It's also important to ensure that you communicate, you ask for feedback, you check in, you celebrate, you reward. Sometimes, right, low performing teams, it can be due to their lack of ability to perform the particular role, right? Maybe the role is way bigger than their capacity. Sometimes it could be an issue of capacity issue, skill issue, competency issue, or behavioral issue. It is so important to know what the issue is so that it can be addressed. Sometimes you give people jobs to do and they didn't do it. Do you know why they didn't do it? Sometimes we don't know why. We just assume that we know why. We just assume that they are just not skilled, right? It's so important to have those dialogue, those conversations, and also monitor the jobs that they are doing, ensure that they are trained, ensure that you have also equipped them with the right tools, the right knowledge, the right exposure, the right reward system, So all these things can impact the kind of performance you get from your team, whether it's a low performance or a high performance.
That makes a lot of sense. The way you mention it is more like as if that's like a major leadership technique for you, setting out the goals, delegating properly, picking right. So all these now are techniques that we can follow to build that vision-driven team that we're looking for, right?
Yeah, it is so important because as a leader, right, you are the driver. You are the driver, you are the pilot, you are the captain of the ship. And you must recognize that the people that you'll be working with have diverse strengths, diverse abilities, diverse dreams as well. So it is not just about you, it's also about them as well. And so you must be able to be proactive, to be a leader that is tactful. Even the way you communicate, you motivate, you inspire, it can impact performance. All of these things are so important, and a leader must be self-aware. You must know what motivates your people. If you don't know it, you need to learn it, because they have to be motivated. You have to have a culture of open communication as well, culture of fairness, culture of transparency, culture of discipline, culture of reward, culture of care. So many things actually come to play at the end of the day. Yeah.
Speaking from a bit of your experience, can you tell us how you've been able to sustain company culture at So Fresh?
Okay, fantastic. That's actually a very good question, and it's a tough job actually, especially because we are operating from peculiar environment like Nigeria, because this is a culture where things are just done anyhow. It's as if there are no standards. When it comes to customer service, even when it comes to excellence in terms of product development, in terms of product delivery, service delivery, in terms of caring for people. So, and these are our own core values, right? So your culture is derived from your company values. And your company values also is derived from your own personal values. So your values first. So for us, our values are integrity, value of care, value of teamwork. So if we indeed practice those values every single day, we find opportunities within, things that happen at work every day to explain our values again to our staff, and they see that the leadership is also modeling it. They're a people of integrity. They are a person of integrity. What they say they will do, they will do. If they promise staff this, if there is this in the staff policy, they ensure that they give what is due to staff. If they have promised customers that they would not add anything so they see you practice it. So even at that, by the time you continue to experience turnover, right, in the company, people come with other cultures, right, and they import it and bring it into the workplace. What we ensure we do is we continue to reinforce it, we continue to talk about it, and we continue to look out for opportunities to reward what we want to see people do and to discipline what we don't want people to do. So we are big on discipline. We are big on rewards. We are big on celebration, right? So we want to ensure that we find examples to show people that this is the right thing to do or this is the wrong thing to do. Another thing we do is that we have a very thorough audit system. And so from time to time, our auditors, they move around to check, they move around to audit, they move around to just ensure that things are done, the right way, because people would always want to go against the rule. That's just the human nature. They would always want to explore. They know what is right to be done, but they will go the other way around. Like, recently, there is this big policy around customers must not transfer to a staff private account. All purchases must be done directly to the company account. And these are things that they are trained on when they come into the company. This is what we have fired a manager for, and we broadcast this, communicate it across board, right? During audits, you still find out that some people are still doing this. So, culture, yes, but we need to also ensure that we are on top of people doing the right things. Not just enough to say, oh, we have a strategy and this is the strategy, right? They said culture will eat a strategy for breakfast. Culture is so strong. Behavior of the people, right? That forms the culture. So what's the prevalent behavior within a brand? That is the culture. What is the behavior of the leader, the CEO, the COO? What are the managers? What are their behaviors? That is the culture. Culture is not just what you see, it's what people experience when they come in contact with the brand.
Media brand, and it all springs forth first of all from the values of the company.
Very correct.
All right. In a situation like this, another thing that could affect the workplace is conflict and differences, right? Differences because you're dealing with a lot of people that comes from different backgrounds. They have different opinions, certain ways they do things. How do you manage this conflict and differences of opinion within a team?
Okay, so how we manage conflicts, first of all, we train, right? We train the minds of the people to
Okay.
understand that conflict will be inevitable, conflict will arise, but what is most important is how it is addressed and managed. So conflict management is one of the trainings that our managers also enjoy,
Okay.
preparing them ahead to know that conflicts will definitely arise. But when it arises, these are the step by step ways to resolving it. These are the step by step procedure process to managing it, because it is
Okay.
so important for people to be able to manage their emotions in the workplace.
Mm.
We also train on emotional intelligence, all right, for people to understand how to manage their emotions and the emotions of others in the workplace. For us, fighting is not an option. You fight, then you have fired yourself right on the spot. So you must find a more harmonious, peaceful, reasonable way to manage your emotions, manage your conflicts, manage your grievances, rather than physically assaulting one another. So that rule is there, and that is non-negotiable. But how we are dealing with it is to equip them with the knowledge, equip them and support them. If you're unable to resolve it, escalate it to the next level. The next level, escalate it to the next levels. That is how we have been able to manage it. We've made them to understand that conflicts are healthy. They are not unhealthy, because when they show up, it is an opportunity for you maybe to understand somebody else and learn how to improve your own behavior going forward. So it is not something we can wish away. We can't wish it away. It will definitely come. But we need to take action and take the right action in addressing it, and ultimately continue to move forward towards achieving the goal. Because for everything, it must be, how do we keep moving forward to achieve the goal? Conflicts are just distractions. They can be distractions from the goal, but you must keep your minds focused on the goal.
All right. So, I mean, we've spoken on leadership techniques for building these teams. We've spoken of how we can sustain the company culture, the setting the goals and the objective, motivating the team, handling conflict, encouraging, and we're talking about the reward system that you give for your team members. Can we box all these things up to give me your top characteristics that are necessary for every successful team?
Characteristics that is successful for every team, like what successful team must have.
Yes, ma'am.
I think every successful team must have a shared vision. There must be a shared vision. They must share the vision. They must be in alignment. So they must be in alignment with the goal and the vision that we are setting out to achieve. Because from the beginning, if there is no agreement and alignment, then there's a problem from the onset. So there must be an alignment to the common goal so that we can collectively go for it. Every successful team must have a role that they are playing. Everybody must have a role, a responsibility that they will play. What part are they playing towards the achievement of this goal? It cannot be that everybody's job is my job. Cannot just say you are doing everything. What is your role?
Yeah.
What is your focus? Are you the marketing executive? Are you the customer service? Are you the production person? Are you the supply chain person? So accountants, everybody must have a role they are playing, all right? And the And the third thing, that I would say also is a feature of a successful team would be that they celebrate their wins. They don't say it as I'm not part of this. Everybody have that ownership mindset. And when we fall, we all fall. When we rise, we all rise. So there is that synergy. There is that spirit of comradeship within successful teams. They celebrate themselves, they communicate. Yes, so those are the things that I would say are features of successful teams. And of course, they are high performers, right? They are high performers. Yeah, because if you know the role you are to play, then go ahead and do it. So successful teams are doers. They don't just sit down and watch things happen. They make things happen.
Okay, so lastly, before we go, I would love to ask, how can business owners encourage continuous learning and development within their team?
Number one, those business leaders must also be people who are continually developing themselves as well, personally and continuously developing themselves. Because if you are not someone that they see develop themselves, you are not inspiring them to also develop themselves. So one, what you are asking for, you must first of all be doing it. So you lead by example and you come to meetings and you even inspire them by sharing the things you are learning and how those things you are learning is making you a better person. Maybe things that you didn't know before that you now know now because of the things you are learning. And let them know that nobody is above learning. And for you to learn, that means you're intentional about making yourself more valuable. So it's about speaking from that perspective and encouraging them. Sometimes they might think, oh, it's costly, it's expensive. You can share non-expensive ways, free resources where they can go online and learn. You can share different platforms where you also get free content from that they can learn, right? So you will share those resources because most times people just think, I don't have money. So you want to diffuse that by showing them other ways, other areas that they can grow themselves. And by the time they grow themselves, let them know that they are increasing their value. I have seen people join my company and today they are managers. Of course, their earning power have also changed. It has skyrocketed. And that is the impact of continually investing in your growth, in yourself. You will earn more because you will now be able to even deliver more value. In fact, it will pay them to increase your salary than hiring somebody afresh because bringing in someone afresh will be more expensive. But promoting you and adding to your own salary, it pays them better. So now that you're already plugged into that system, why don't you leverage your, especially for organizations that reward growth and encourages, learning. So that is how you can, encourage them, lead by example, share the things that you are learning. They can also join maybe professional groups that can also help them grow and develop and share the benefits of how that is helping them. In fact, by the time they also see how the business is growing and they know that what you are learning is one of, part of the things that you are applying and that is helping the business. So they have real examples to convince them that learning actually pays. So those are practical, real ways that I think can have impact and can make your employees also want to grow and develop. Then another thing would be what we are doing right now in-house. I coach all of our administrative and management team. I have a coaching program where, I work with them on a particular goal and I help them together we set action, and it's a one-on-one thing. And together we set actionable steps that can help them grow. And this is maybe not even about the job. It can be personal. So all of these things just help them increase their commitment and loyalty to the brand because they see that, wow, this is what I would have gone to pay a coach outside for. But my company even have my time. They are even helping me to become a better husband at home, to become a better, child at home. So that's just, how to continue to invest in your team and help them.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was immense value. We can't talk about everything concerning teams, especially in this episode, because we are time limited. But I know for sure that you have an online course, I think, on building great teams and hiring right. So can you tell us a bit of that and how we can access it?
Yes. All right. Thank you. Hiring right for business success. It's one of my best-selling courses, and it documents the procedural steps and techniques that every entrepreneur, business leader, you're a coach, or you just want to hire people, or you just want to learn how to hire your first staff. That is all that you need. All right, it's fully power packed, and if you don't want to hire a recruiter by yourself, you can successfully hire your first staff. All right, so I document everything that you need to know, from crafting your vision, your mission, your values, to recruitment, to onboarding, to managing performance, and to retaining your team. For building great teams is a more elaborate program, and it also involves a group coaching support system, and it also talks about leadership, how to effectively lead a team, how to become an effective leader yourself, because if you're not effective, you can't transfer that capacity to be effective. So building great teams is so detailed. It talks about team dynamics as well. It talks about hiring rights as well. It's in fact, the value of courses are just they are priceless. So I encourage every entrepreneur who wants to scale their businesses, who wants to build for the long term, who wants to build high impact teams, high performing teams, not low performing teams, because the low performing teams, they can kill your business, but the high performing ones will ensure that you spread faster. If it is multiple locations that you want to build, they are there. If it is remote teams, I share how you can effectively manage remote teams as well. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. So I'll drop the link to the two courses in the description. So in case you want to access that, you can sign in and then join the waitlist. I think I'm seeing that there's a waitlist for the courses, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So what about if they want to work with you one-on-one, probably train their staffs, or they need some coaching done or consultation? How can they access you with that?
Okay. Yeah, so they can send me an email, info@abimbolaconsults.com.
You can also inbox her on Instagram, so I'll also keep her Instagram link there too, so you can access her and ask her probably any question from this episode that you'd love to get more information about. Okay, Emma, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for honoring my invitations. And to all of our listeners, I want to say a very big thank you for tuning in and being a part of the community. To keep grinding, keep pushing, keep growing your brand. As always, we'll be here with you at every step of the way. Make sure to join our communities on Facebook and Instagram. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, review us on your favorite podcast platform. If you have a question pertaining to branding or business development, you can email us at africanbrandacademy@gmail.com or message us on any of the social media platforms or our social media communities. And I will be able to answer you on the next episode. It could be your question. And even if I'm not able to answer you here directly, I'd make sure to answer you in the communities. And this is Sharon Alfred saying ciao. Take care.